Imagine this. A lovely summer day in one of Atlanta's finer neighborhoods. Michael Carter, a 15-year veteran of the police force, is now living his dream. After years of pinching pennies and working endless overtime, he's finally purchased his dream house, a gorgeous two-story mansion with a sparkling crystal-clear swimming pool that shines under the warm Georgia sun. But just when life can't get any better, catastrophe rolls up in a police uniform. Michael reclines in his lounge chair, eyes closed, enjoying the warm breeze, until police sirens pierce the air. Two patrol cars screech to a halt in front of his house. Officers, hands on holsters, approach his fence. "Sir, we've received a report of a suspicious individual trespassing in this pool area." Michael comes to a seated position, his stomach nodding with familiarity. He doesn't have to wonder who placed that call. Out of the corner of his eye, he catches sight of her, Karen Thompson, his neighbor, looking over the top of her curtains, smug expression in place. This is not the first stunt she's pulled, but little does she know, it will be the last. But how did things escalate to this level? Let's go back. 2 months prior, Michael proudly settles into his new house. After a decade and a half of serving and protecting, he's gotten to the place his parents had only dreamed of, owning his own home in one of Atlanta's most affluent neighborhoods. The piece de resistance? That backyard pool, sparkling and clean. While arranging his patio furniture, Michael sees her for the first time. Karen Thompson, second-floor window, phone to her ear, glaring directly at him. He gestures to her. She moves behind the curtain. Things quickly go wrong. The following day, as Michael is at the hardware store, his security camera beeps. There she is, Karen, walking straight through his open back gate, wearing a resort poolside casual look. She sets out a high-end towel and wades into his pool with her feet. When Michael comes home and confronts her, she gives him an eerie response. "Oh," she says, affecting surprise. "I thought you were the new pool maintenance man. The old owners always allowed me to use their pool." Her patronizing smile infuriates him. But Michael, schooled in staying cool when he's hot, answers quietly, "Ma'am, I'm not the maintenance man. I'm the owner, and I'd prefer it if you asked me permission before coming onto my property." Her expression contorts in disbelief. "You, the owner?" She giggles uncertainly. "There's got to be some mistake. I know the realtor, and she never said." She leaves it hanging, waving vaguely at him, leaving the racist undertone unsaid. "There's no mistake, Mrs. Thompson. This is my house, and you are trespassing. You'd think that would be that. Think again." The following weeks, a nightmare. One Saturday morning, Michael wakes up to splashing and laughter. Through his window, he sees it. Karen and 4 friends having a full-blown pool party in his backyard. "You need to leave. Immediately," he says, stepping onto the patio. "This is private property." Karen waves him off. "Don't be difficult. We're just having fun. This pool barely gets any use anyway." Her visitors appear uneasy. One says in a whisper, "Karen informed us that she was given permission." Michael does not lose it. He understands how to diffuse. "Mrs. Thompson, this is your last warning. If you trespass again, I am calling the police." "Be my guest," she snarls. "My husband is friends with Captain Richards. He plays golf with him." That is when Michael puts gloves on. Later that day, he replaces security cameras. Years of policing had taught him, document everything, and it pays off. In a matter of days, he catches her probing his gate, lingering at his windows, even attempting to use a copied key left by the former owners. The final straw? Michael walks in from doing some grocery shopping to discover 8 women in his backyard, wine glasses in hand, reclining poolside. Karen's book club. This time, he calls the police. "Mike, long time no see," says Officer Davis, stepping out of the car. "Oh, it's this kind of call," mutters Officer Martinez, recognizing the situation immediately. Karen, ever the actor, turns on the tears. "Officers, he's harassing us. We've always had pool privileges with the previous owners." But Officer Martinez shuts it down. "Ma'am, Mr. Carter was one of our best. If he tells you you're trespassing, you're trespassing. Please vacate premises before we have to make this official. Karen humiliates herself out of there. But she's not finished. Now she gets upset. Anonymous posts inundate the community Facebook page regarding suspicious activity at Michael's residence. His morning newspaper goes missing. The HOA fielding complaints about his yard, despite it being immaculate. But Michael is no newcomer. His cameras see everything. Karen swiping his paper at 6 a.m., snapping his house at midnight, and even spraying plant killer on his favorite roses. And then the HOA meeting. Karen rises, smiling sweetly. I'm worried about property values, she says. Recent changes have made prospective buyers uneasy. Michael stands calmly. Interesting, he says. Would you care to explain this? He holds up his phone and shows a video. Crystal clear video of Karen destroying his garden at 11:47 p.m. Silence. Karen pales. I was suspiciously checking. Right, Michael says. And now we know who. But it wasn't over. Not yet. That night, Michael discovers his pool foaming with dish soap, tampered with. As the bubbles glimmered in the moonlight, he smiled. A plan had started taking shape in his mind. Karen wanted to game. Michael was on the verge of giving her just what she desired, but this time with a twist. However, every so often, karma doesn't knock, it cannonballs. Michael had learned something in his research, a strange, totally harmless pool dye utilized by professional service crews. But here's the catch. The dye only works with certain chemicals used in premium cosmetics and sunscreens. The same type Karen and her group were notorious for applying prior to their illicit dips. And the kicker, it would color their skin bright green. Not toxic, not indelible, but certainly memorable. Michael tested it out first, just to be certain. In a small bucket, he combined a small amount of the dye with the sunscreen Karen had smeared on his pool chair days before. The effect? A bright, unmistakable green stain that would last at least a week. It was time. Michael heard about Karen planning another of her real estate support pool parties through the neighborhood grapevine. Translation: a subtle move to make her new neighbor feel uneasy. Michael smiled as he got ready. He added the dye to the pool, exactly measured. To the naked eye, water didn't look even slightly different. Crystal clear, welcoming, innocent. But this time he wasn't depending on his security system. He installed 3 new hidden cameras, every angle. And then the piece de resistance. He made certain Karen saw him depart that Saturday morning. Car packed. Driveway empty. Only he didn't actually leave. Michael just pulled around the corner, snuck back in through the side gate, and plopped into his home office with a clear view of the pool and a front row seat to karma. At 2 p.m. sharp, showtime commenced. Karen sauntered through his gate as if she owned it. 6 friends following close behind. Designer handbags, bottles of champagne, Bluetooth speakers, the whole shebang. Welcome, ladies, to our Saturday sanctuary. Karen toasted, glass aloft. They all laughed, slathered on their decadent sunscreen, and plunged in. And then, it began. It started out quietly. One of Karen's friends, Susan, glanced down at her arm and just stood there. Karen, is your skin changing color? Karen mocked her, until she looked at her own hands and shrieked. Her pale complexion was going bright green. Not only her hands, her arms, her face, her legs. In a matter of seconds, it was pandemonium. Women screamed, running out of the pool, their expensive makeup running down their cheeks in green streams. Manicured fingers appeared to have been immersed in slime. My daughter's wedding is next week, one screamed, gazing at her newly chartreuse legs. Karen stood in the middle, dripping and aglow like a minty lamp. This was intentional, she screamed. Then she noticed it. The blinking red light of Michael's secret camera. What ensued? Legendary. The video clip went viral. Michael had edited it beautifully, depicting Karen's past intrusions, then the green pool mishap, all to the same jazz music they played at the party. The internet consumed it. Trespassing Karen goes green with envy trended as a top headline. Comments rolled in. Memes. Karen anecdotes. Reposts. Reactions. Her real estate company was compelled to act. Their Facebook site was filled with frog emojis. They released a press statement. We take pride in property respect. The behavior demonstrated does not represent our values. But the neighborhood still wasn't finished. The neighbors finally had their say. She did that to the Johnsons as well. You remember when she called the cops on that lemonade stand? The silence was broken. The neighborhood rallied around Michael. Green and desperate still, Karen attempted damage control. She posted a video about her side. But the camera didn't deceive. Her beaming face just fanned the flames. She resembled an angry wicked witch of the West. Michael remained silent. He didn't have to. He merely waved from his patio, watching the pool she had earlier attempted to usurp. Smiling each time, he caught a green-tinted glimpse of a silhouette through a curtain. And when Karen's attorney wrote him a cease and desist letter ordering him to take down the video, Michael quietly replied, with a data collection of all her trespassing, police incidents, and video of her property damage. Her attorney fervently argued, "You can't show that. The pool dye was intended for them specifically." Michael didn't even respond, because the truth was evident. And Karen, she'd already established herself as the most vibrant cautionary tale for why you never meddle with a man who understands the law and how to document it. Karen's emerald-stained debacle didn't stop its shame. It reshaped the entire neighborhood. The day Michael posted the video of Karen destroying his garden, the silence about her actions broke. Overnight, individuals who had turned the other way began to notice. People exchanged friendly smiles instead of side eyes. Mrs. Rodriguez from the house across the street came over with her popular empanadas. "I should have spoken up earlier," she admitted. "Karen complained about my Christmas lights last year, said they were too ethnic." And she was not alone. The Johnsons eventually got their revenge on Karen for trying to get them to have their children's basketball hoop taken away, saying it brought down property values. Even Karen's best friends began to shun her. Some of them still had a faint green color on their skin. But her last attempt at vengeance? It blew up in her face. Karen attempted to stage a neighborhood gathering on hazardous chemicals in the pool with the goal of turning the media tide. 3 attendants turned up, and all of them wore a green ribbon of silent support for Michael. The icing on the cake? Her husband, ranting at the local golf club. "Do you know how tough it is to seal a deal when your wife is actually green?" He winced. "She can't even give showings anymore. People are constantly asking if she's ill." It all transpired while Michael remained professional. When journalists approached him for reactions, he replied succinctly, "Anyone is free to use my pool, they just need to ask first." He smiled. That smile spoke volumes. A for sale sign was up on Karen's lawn 2 weeks later. The green had departed from her complexion, but her reputation? Forever tainted. Karen began to walk the block around in a long way in order to avoid Michael's house, particularly on weekends, when his pool parties were an emerging neighborhood tradition. Invites, safety rules for the pool, and Michael's legendary grilled ribs sealed the deal. Children were laughing and splashing while parents sat back and bonded. "I've been here 20 years, reported Tom from 2 doors down while assisting Michael in preparing for a Labor Day barbecue. "And this is the first time that I really feel like I know the neighbors." The Rodriguez children even began a joke, walking carefully around Karen's house in goggles and towels, whispering, "Don't tell Karen." Even their parents couldn't resist laughing. Real estate agents who were showing Karen's house had to account for why she was relocating. The episode was the stuff of local legend. They were obligated by law to report it. "No, the dye won't hurt your pool," they tell anxious buyers. It was temporary. The conduct, alas, wasn't. Karen's last public foray was at one final HOA meeting. She had prepared a speech on decline in the neighborhood. But as soon as she stood up, someone at the back quietly whistled. "It's not easy being green." The room erupted in laughter. Karen ran out, face burning with embarrassment, clashing humorously with her dying green undertones. The day her moving truck departed, Michael raised a glass of lemonade, not to mark her departure, but to appreciate what had occurred. Defying a bully had brought his community together. Now, 1 year later, Michael's pool is still the hub of the neighborhood, the new occupants of Karen's home, an interracial couple with twin girls. They are accepted seamlessly. The girls are on the swim team these days, and Michael gives them practice on weekends. Guests tend to inquire about a framed picture beside his pool gate. It is of a crowd of people running across the community, skin a shiny bright green. Michael simply smiles and says, "That's a reminder that karma sometimes makes a splash." His security cameras continue to roll, but now they record birthday parties, swim lessons, summer nights, and neighbors just living life together. HOA meetings are brief these days, friendlier, and no one gets upset about basketball hoops or Christmas lights anymore. Last week, Michael got a familiar type of email. A local news source had discovered that Karen, who had moved away to another state, was stirring up trouble again, this time insisting on access to someone else's personal tennis court. Michael smiled, marked the email as read, and headed outdoors to swim in his pool. And as he floated out over the still, bright water, he understood something. The greatest revenge isn't revenge. It's rising above and proving to others that dignity, peace, and fellowship can conquer even the most petty form of cruelty. His pool was not just a perk anymore. It was a symbol, a reminder that sometimes the best comeback is watching karma do its thing. So if you've ever dealt with a Karen in your life, remember this. Sometimes all it takes is a camera, a calm mind, and a little green pool dye.